What up guys, Justice here, welcome to my second RS VORAGO Ultimate Guide on the Boulders or Falling Rocks rotation. If you want to see my previous guide on the Green Bombs rotation, then the link will be in the description below and on annotations on the screen. This guide is from a melee base tank perspective, as requested from viewers of my previous guide. The gear setup I've used is full superior Tetsu with Drygor's dual wield and arcane shield. Of course it'd be better to use a divine shield if you've got the money, as that doesn't reduce your accuracy as much, but to be honest it doesn't matter when you base tank. Also, as you can see in my inventory, this is the setup you want if you want to last for 2 trips. I've got a full yak of rocktails including my inventory. I have enough overloads for 2 kills, so you want at least 8 doses of overload and renewal. You want that many restore potions, prayer potions, and you also want some adrenaline potions. This also includes runes to cast the lunar spell Heal Other. Alright, straight into the kill. So if you're the melee base tank, then you want to be luring VORAGO straight away northeast. You then want to walk VORAGO or run VORAGO west across the wall. The jumper will then voke once she or he is in position. To then voke VORAGO in the correct position. You will then go behind VORAGO and then voke south. Not straight away though. At this point you want to lure to the point where DPSs will deal damage to VORAGO until he gets down to 40k life points. At this point you then want to voke VORAGO south for the jumper to then jump, and then once the jumper is down on the ground you will then be able to DPS VORAGO down fairly easily. If you're carrying out the jumping role, then watch my first guide and you'll see exactly where the jumper needs to be in order to voke it correctly, as there is a special position in order to speed up phase 1. At this point you want to be using your lunar spells. If you're the melee base tank, you want to use Barricade and then Heal Other. Make sure it's on your ability bar so you can quickly activate it against each individual to heal up their life points. Okay, so as the melee base tank, it's your responsibility to take the first and second voke every single time on both phase 2 and 4. The first voke you will use Freedom, the second voke you will then use Escape, and make sure you're in the correct position in order to escape further enough away in order to stop that bleed effect. If the escape ability is used incorrectly, for example if you're too close to the wall and therefore it does not escape further enough backwards, or you use a stun ability right before you use Escape, then this will not allow you to use the Escape ability, and therefore, as you saw there, you need to run away further enough for that bleed effect to actually disappear and stop decreasing your life points. Okay, thirdly, it's your responsibility again as melee base tank, when it's on reflect, of course not to hit it, but also you want to be voking VORAGO to the gravity field, and that's your responsibility again because you want to make sure VORAGO is on you and you're taking the majority of the damage. Then at this point you want to be dual wielding, you want to get your dual Drygors out, make sure you're overloaded up, and use Zerk if possible, or just backhand, severe, and make sure you get those destroys and assault out on VORAGO in order to deal enough damage for a weapon piece to fall off. Okay, so on to phase 3, the phase which everybody's probably watching this for. So the ideal team roles you want for this phase and also for the entire kill in order to consistently get those kills at VORAGO on this rotation: 1 melee base tank, which this role I'm playing, 1 to 2 melee DPSs with Drygors, preferably 3 Mage DPSs with Seismic, and 1 Mage Bomb Tank. So this is the worst week for Mage Bomb Tanks as they have to be demolishing the boulders, etc. But that's another guide I can do. A little tip for everybody is that if you use Resonance, you can actually destroy the boulder without getting hit. You won't heal off it, but you actually won't get hit anything. You won't get 2.8k LP damage. So basically the guide for this, you want the melees to death dot on each other, or at least be around each other, and the Mage DPSs to again be upon each other. The reason for this is if the boulder actually falls down, there is no need to move away. The damage will actually be spread across the players which it drops upon, so approximately you'll get hit around 2k each. You'll see this tactic being used in this kill extremely effectively, and again when it's on reflect, do not hit. I actually almost got KO'd there. I'm not sure whether I used the Sign of Life, but I'm pretty certain Ollie tried to use Unload on me again, and that's just a bit of a personal joke, and that is a range ability. That sounded extremely wrong. But yeah, so to carry on with the guide. Okay, so just as a quick recap, phase 1, luring northeast. Phase 2, you want to be going to the red balls as fast as possible, so the gravity fields, otherwise VORAGO will stand still. That's also in phase 4, by the way. VORAGO will stand still and you'll all end up getting hit a magic hit from VORAGO. Also, you want to be constantly using defense abilities. You want to be using the reflect ability and debilitate. and always keep Virago facing you. Another tip, if you are the only melee in the team, then you want to make sure on both phase 3 and 4 that you're standing close to the mages death dotting. That means that you will actually take the damage together rather than just solely taking the 8k hit from the boulder if that lands on you. You also want to be using Barricade and Heal Other spell as often as possible, or whenever your team needs it. You want to be communicating with your team constantly and asking your team whether they need healing, and also the tanker as well. He needs to shout out when he needs a heal so you can charge your ability bar up, use Barricade, and then get those Lunar spells in action. Okay, so phase 4, pretty much exactly the same as every other rotation, except you've got the boulders in there rather than, for example, the green bombs like last week. So right at the start, you want to make sure Virago's on you, and also there'll be waterfalls straight away at the start of the phase. Right after the waterfalls, like every rotation, Virago will spawn a couple of minions on certain individuals. If it's on you at this point, you want to be switching over to your dual wield and quickly taking the minion down with the destroy ability, then finishing the minion off with a basic. Right after the minions, Virago will fire a boulder as you saw there. Make sure you're death dotting on other melees or again close to the mages. Then at this point, right after the boulder, Virago will use his stomp on you, and at this point this is when you need to be voking. Make sure again Virago is on you so you get the first 2 stomps. Again, use freedom and then escape. Don't use a stun ability, otherwise you won't be able to use escape. And again, just follow the guide from earlier if you do use a stun, and then just follow the voke order accordingly with your team. Also, when Virago is on reflect, try not to move as the melee base tank. If you're an experienced melee base tank, then you'll make it a lot easier for your team if you just stay still. I don't have a clue what just happened to me then, but I almost got KO'd. I think I had 300 LP left. I don't even know what happened then. But yeah, so basically, try not to move on the reflect, otherwise Virago will move around you, and it does make it quite annoying for the mages. Especially as well if you're doing it on different rotations, for example the green bomb rotation like last week, the mages will be in a square and therefore you really don't want to be moving Virago around. Now at this point, very similar to every single rotation, on phase 4 with the waterfalls, after the second waterfall you want to be DPSing Virago down, all the way down to around 30k, well between 20 to 30k LP. The reason for this is so on the third waterfall, when you go into it, when you come out, you want to be dual wielded. Everybody wants to be dual wielded except for the Mage Bomb Tank. And for this, the reason for this, is that you can actually DPS Virago right down before the 2 minions actually spawn, and then phase 4 is over. Otherwise, it will take a slightly longer to complete phase 4. So like every rotation, after Virago does his Voke order, it's 3 melee or mage hits, ability bar uses, before Virago uses his reflect ability. So you can always time it so you don't hit whoever the link is on. The following footage now is the very last stage in phase 4, and it'll go through exactly what I just spoke about in terms of guiding you through, knocking Virago down to 25k, making sure he doesn't go below 12.5k. And for that reason, as you just saw in the footage, that's why the Sign of Life is such an amazing attribute to this game. Our actual Mage Bomb Tank just survived using the Sign of Life there, so that was kind of lucky. And as you saw there, we completely DPS Virago down, and that's why you want to be using that tactic every single time on phase 4, every single week, in order to speed up phase 4. Okay, so as a melee base tank, it's your responsibility again to take them all. For this, the reason for this is that if you are the only melee, then you're going to be within melee distance of Virago, making it much easier for you to smash him with that hammer. So you want to be death dotting on the north with any other melees. The mages will be death dotting south, and they won't be within melee distance, otherwise Virago will be hitting them constantly, therefore pushing us back as a team. So after each red bomb is released from Virago, there is approximately 3 hits again until the reflect comes about, and therefore again you can time exactly when Virago is going to reflect, which reduces the damage you take and therefore reduces the chance of you being pushed back. At this point as well in phase 5, every single person except for the Mage Bomb Tank will be dual wielding. The reason for this is that you need absolute max damage per second in this phase, therefore you do want seismics mages, and you do want people with full Drygors. If there's any other melees in your team, then yes, they can wear Tetsu, but again, it's more preferable if they have full Turbo so you can get that max DPS. As you can see, we're absolutely owning Virago right now, extremely fast here, pushing him back. One last tip, whilst Virago is on Reflect, hit that shield on, it'll actually stop you from attacking. So that's for everybody as well, mages, and then hit that Resonance. Okay, so this kill was in fact a sub 15-minute kill, so I hope the guide was helpful. Good luck when you go killing Virago with your team, and again, next week I'll be doing another guide with the next rotation. Write in the comment section below the role you would like to see the guide from in terms of the perspective, and I will carry out that role and explain all the different attributes you want to be carrying out in order to successfully complete that role at Virago. Enjoy the rest of the kill, and I'll see you in the next video.